Okay, welcome back, everyone, to another great episode of The Human Role. So I'm really excited about today's conversation. We are definitely diving into something that is really dear to my heart, which is payroll, where I started in my career. And today we're not going to talk about just payroll in a more traditional sense, like we know it, but we're going to get into payroll as a strategic function and how we can bring leadership into that specific role within our organization. So with that, I have the experts here with me. I'm joined today by John Bernatovicz, who is a president of Willery and speaker and author, and Tammy Gillenwater, who brings over 30 years of experience across payroll strategy, compliance, and operations. So they're both, ironically, co-authors of the upcoming book, Payroll Like a Boss, which really is going to get into payroll in a more strategic way. John and Tammy, thank you both so much for being here today. And I really would like for you guys to just give an intro for anyone in my network who may not be versed and familiar with you all. I'd love for you to give a little bit of your background before we get started.
All right. So I'm Tammy Gillenwater. I have been in payroll for well over 30 years. I am certified. So I have my CPP. I've been pretty active with my local payroll chapter since 2007. I am really excited about the changing role of payroll and getting the word out and just being an advocate for the profession.
She's also incredible in so many other ways other than what she would share, but she's too modest, and she's written one hell of a book. Go to page 50, chapter 6. That is the best written page in the entire Payroll Like a Boss book. I'm so proud of you, Tammy, and thankful to be on this journey with you.
Thank you.
Page 50, chapter 6 is all about her choosing payroll, or did it choose her, and how she transformed into the business leader she is today. And I'm Tammy's friend. I'm also Will and Mallory's dad. At the same time, I'm blessed to be a serial entrepreneur, super focused on making an impact and transforming how people feel at work through the power of HR and payroll. And super blessed to also have written HR Like a Boss, which has made people think I'm way smarter than I am. And as a result, I get to travel around the country talking about all the pillars of HR Like a Boss, and soon to become Payroll Like a Boss as well. I'm super excited for what's ahead of us, and specifically for Tammy to just watch her growth and development, especially as she's at this point in her career, having done and accomplished so much, that she finally is getting to achieve this thing of writing a book, which she didn't probably know what she's getting herself into after we're into the round of 6 edits of our book. But so be it. Those things happen. And when we're on the other side of it, we're going to celebrate in Las Vegas. That's the plan. The day after our book launches, we're going to be in Las Vegas at a big conference. And I told her and one of our helpers, Bridget Klein, who's been awesome in marketing, we're going to go get drunk on either April 29th or April 30th. It's happening in Las Vegas. So look out for that.
Yeah, I think that might be
Vegas days.
Yeah, isn't that also payroll week, right? So I think that's we got to celebrate all encompassing. So as you guys can see, we definitely have some experts here, well deserved, and really excited to just have you guys here so we can talk about the book. Before we get maybe a little bit into the book, I wanted to just get your opinions on some things, so since payroll is typically looked at as like a back office function, why do you believe that's more so outdated nowadays? Hopefully your book kind of dips into this, but I'd love to get your opinion there.
I can give you a 3-word answer: technology, compliance, and globalization. Those 3 items have had a huge impact on the role of payroll. And, the technology is basically processing the payroll, right? It still needs governance, but the technology is there that can do the validations, that can look for exception processing. And some of the AI that's coming out is going to be so cool. What I'm really excited about is that you can load all your policies in your system, and the AI technology can make sure you're adhering to policies and all that fun stuff that used to be a traditional payroll responsibility. But there is a much bigger impact to the organization that payroll has, but I don't think anybody's ever had the time to show that to their leadership. And so I'm hoping that with the book, I know John wrote a lot about the strategies. Hopefully we'll have a really good impact on people and help get them to see things differently.
I'll just add a couple things to what Tammy mentioned. Technology is littered all throughout Payroll Like a Boss. I think ultimately for payroll professionals, that transformation is so important for you to lean into that. The use of tech and how you can better leverage it and look at AI like Tammy did, smiling about it and being excited as opposed to being fearful. The other thing I would say about it is I've been around payroll for 30 years, payroll professionals, calling on them, doing payroll, serving them. And what I've noticed is that payroll professionals are humble, they're quiet, they're devoted, they're disciplined, they're hardworking, and they're detail oriented. And as a result of that, when a particular function like payroll is relegated to, as you described it, Tiana, to back office, sometimes as payroll professionals, you don't want to get noticed, because when you do, it means something went wrong. It means that you missed someone's pay or you got to do something different. And what we're trying to do is accelerate this idea of, okay, payroll community, let's become more strategic by using the insights that you have into every organization's largest indirect expense, which is wages, salaries, bonuses, compensation, taxes. If we want to add benefits into that, we can even make it larger. How do we help our business owners, our partners, the people that run functions and departments in our organizations? How can we help them become more privy to and knowledgeable about their largest expense? And how do we help them control and manage that and make informed decisions about it? I think all too often we're focused on accurate and timely payroll, which is kind of an inside joke with Tammy and I, because we're going to play a drinking game. This is too much of a theme on drinking, but accurate and timely payroll is mentioned in Payroll Like a Boss probably 1,000 times. So every time you read those words in a row and you're drinking the book, you got to take a drink. We might have a party like that, and you can drink whatever you want. We don't care if it's water, lemonade, iced tea, if you want a vodka, bourbon, whatever the case is. But payroll is way more than just accurate and timely payroll. That's an assumption. There's elements of it that will allow us as payroll professionals to become more strategic. And that's what we hope to glean and at least inspire one person that reads the book to look at their job in a different way.
Absolutely. Look, he just gave you the roadmap on how to be more strategic in your role, right? And I have always said so many times in past episodes, if any of us had $1 for being told, you just click a button, right? And we'd be millionaires and not be doing payroll anymore. But there's so many things that go into payroll that people just never see. And so, yeah, there is a lot more that we can do. And I love how, Tammy, you mentioned the AI side of it, because I think that that's going to play another factor. And I have been encouraging people to maybe take the leap and don't be afraid of AI, but embrace it, accept it, and learn from it and see how it can help your role become more strategic. So with that, I'd love to get maybe some more insight from you all on where do you see AI and the automation impacting payroll maybe over the next 3 to 5 years? I mean, I always like to put a disclaimer out, when I ask this question to some guests, because I feel like things are changing every minute of every day with AI. So this is just what we're thinking right now. Everything could always be ever changing, but I'd love to just get some insight from you all, maybe some more details, so people in the payroll world can be on alert from that.
I think the obvious, and to some extent, this is already being done. A lot of businesses are using bots to help with their payroll validations, to help call out exception items. And so I think the AI is going to continue to improve that over time. And I think I mentioned being able to make sure that the technology is ensuring adherence to your policies, because a lot of times that gets missed. Compliance is one thing, and the payroll vendors can certainly make sure that their systems are updated to adhere to compliance, but they don't necessarily know your internal policies. So that's really exciting for me. Also, employee engagement. One of the things that I just saw a demo, an AI demo, and the employee typed in, "Why are my taxes different on my paycheck this pay than last pay?" I'm serious. I was working on a project and I had just spent a month answering questions like this for employees. Takes me like 20 minutes every time to do an analysis of both paychecks and figure out why the taxes are different. The technology answered them in 30 seconds. And that was like really cool. So I think that's one area where AI is going to make a huge difference. But you're right. We never know tomorrow when we wake up what's going to be new with AI.
Yeah. And on top of that, just as far as technical advancements, I was just thinking about in my professional lifetime, we had Y2K. Remember how nerve-wracking that was? We thought the world was going to end and people were going to fall. People were going to fall out of airplanes in the middle of the night. I'll never forget that. And then the internet came along. Al Gore invented the internet, right? Isn't he that his claim to fame besides being the vice president? And then the cloud came to be. All these servers went digitized onto this fancy cloud-based structure, which is now normal for us. We don't think differently about cloud. We don't go back to what it was like before the internet. And then we have globalization. I still think back to my time when I was at ADP, I was like, wouldn't it be really cool if a company could figure out, a payroll service could figure out how to pay employees across the globe? And here we are 20 years later, and they still haven't figured it out. And so artificial intelligence to me is a constant evolution of technology. I'm not afraid of it. I'm running toward it to see ways we can use it, because in theory, we all have too much to do that we don't want to do or don't have time to do. And it prevents us from doing the things in our jobs that we should be doing, more strategic things, more relationship building, more experience creating. And to me, it's just one of these other things. The difference with AI, in my opinion, is it is accelerating so quickly. So Tiana, for you to say 5 years, I don't think we're talking in normal 5 years. When we're talking AI 5 years, think about how much AI has changed since you started hearing about it about 18 to 24 months ago. Now we're into agentic AI, we're into all these evolutions. And I just think it is accelerating so quickly that it's almost impossible. To that point, I talked to one of my buddies about writing potentially HR tech like a boss. He said, John, it would be outdated by the time we finish the first chapter, even before we released it. And he was 100% right. And I think that's going to be constantly something we as payroll professionals have to look at to say, how can I leverage and lean into this new tech and realize that everything's going to be okay? Everything's going to be okay.
I think it's also going to help a little with the elevation of the strategic place of payroll, because AI is going to be able to provide a lot of workforce insights for both HR and payroll. And that's going to be huge. Now, somebody has to interpret those insights and make sure that they understand how it applies to the business and how it can help them grow and develop. But I think the AI technology itself can just produce those insights.
It's like a helpful tool. And so, John, you only look like you're 20 years old. You knew about all this stuff. I'm surprised. I'm surprised you knew about all the different transactions.
Did she just say that to me? 20 years old. Oh my gosh. That was 32 years ago, Tiana. What are you doing? What are you saying? It must be my haircut. I got to see all the gray. You only see in the dark. This see different. There we go. Now you see it. 50-year-old John, 20-year-old John. All right.
That's hilarious. Yes. But no, there's lots of change. I feel like every some odd years, right, we deal with something big and major. I think by now, most of us are just used to dealing with it. So kind of is what it is. But I look at it as like a tool. Admittingly, was nervous about it, a couple of years ago, and then eventually was like, you know what, I'm a true HR tech person at heart. Like I've got to get on board here, and it has been really, really good. But no, this is great. And I'd like to just maybe get back into the book some too, to kind of go through, if you can narrow down, I'm sure there's many concepts, but what's like one concept from Payroll Like a Boss that you feel like every professional should understand? And what's something that you'd also would like readers to really, take away from the book, like know about it, but be able to take away from it?
Do you mind if I go first? I was going to let Tammy go answer every question first, but I just want to tell the story real quick, Tiana, about how Payroll Like a Boss became Payroll Like a Boss. I was blessed to write HR Like a Boss. Tammy and others on my team, once I published the book, it became a gift I wanted to give them because it was a journey for me and they were all a part of it. And I remember shipping them out. This was, in the spirit of we're still in COVID a bit-ish in that kind of weird time. Sent them out. And then all of a sudden, probably 3 or 4 months later, Tammy might know the time frame better. I get this text from Tammy. Now, Tammy works for my firm. She's one of the highest producers we have in our group. She's just a great performer. She does an awesome job. And I got the "we need to talk" text. Now, mind you, I've gotten a few of those texts from Tammy before in my life. And anytime I get those texts, it means she's quitting in my mind. I immediately go to quitting, like, oh, shoot, Tammy's going to quit. And then all of a sudden, I get on the call with her and she's like, I'm so sorry. It took me this long to read your book. I'm like, it's okay, Tammy, totally cool. We're all busy. She goes, I cannot believe how aligned we are on the concepts that you wrote in HR Like a Boss. And I have all these tabs in my book, and she probably has the book not too far away. It's a prop for our presentation that I'm going to do at some point. But anyway, we hang the phone up. I'm like, okay, thank God she didn't quit. She liked HR Like a Boss. That was it. Sure enough, like not too much longer after that, she reaches out to me and says, John, I want to get your advice. I want to start becoming more forward facing in the payroll community. I hate the word thought leadership. I hate the word influencer, but she wanted to share her wisdom with her community. And I was like, awesome, let's get our marketing team to help you. Let me give you my words of wisdom. And she started doing it in her own way. I shared and liked all of her stuff. I thought it was great. And she started to build out her network, meeting all these new people. She joined a more subcommittee at a higher level at Payroll Org at a national level. And so I was like, amazing. And then all of a sudden she had this epiphany, this professional epiphany. And in that epiphany, she wanted to write a book. So she calls me and says, okay, I need to ask you a favor. Will you help? I want to write a book. I'm like, oh my God, it's so amazing. And then she said, I want your help. I'm like, sure, of course. And then we're going to call it Payroll Like a Boss, and you're going to help me co-write it. And I said to myself, I can't say no to you right now, but I don't really have time to write another book. And so that's how Payroll Like a Boss came to be. And the coolest part is Tammy and I have been so perfectly aligned on the concepts in the book. We actually split up the table of contents. She wrote 10 chapters. I wrote 10 chapters. We then read each other's chapters, made hers mine, mine, hers. And it was really a cool collaboration. But the number one thing for me in the book, I know is different than Tammy, and I can almost predict what she's going to say. I hope she will share it. If not, I will mention it. But we write out a very specific Payroll Like a Boss operating plan for payroll professionals. And we go through specific steps on how you can really do this thing called Payroll Like a Boss. And quite frankly, it doesn't talk about tax withholdings and gross to net. We don't get into any of those things around compliance matters. All those things are assumed. It's about how you become a strategic business leader, having a plan, building a purpose, making sure your processes are situated. We talk about your people and your talent and your team, that they're proficient and they're skilled and they're developed. And we go all the way down to profitability. How can you as a payroll professional influence and impact the bottom line performance of your business? I feel like that chapter means so much to me because I have heard from others similarly that I wrote a similar concept in HR Like a Boss, how they've implemented that inside of their organization, and it's helped them elevate themselves from just someone that does payroll to a strategic business partner that just so happens to do payroll. That's my perspective. I can't wait to hear Tammy's.
Tell me if I got this, if this is what you were expecting. One of the things I love about this book is we don't just talk about the things to do. We talk about people and we talk about mindset. Payroll professionals have been pushed aside for a very long time. I think at one point, John was comparing Payroll Like a Boss to HR Like a Boss. And in one of the chapters in HR Like a Boss, he talks about how HR is hated by people, and Payroll Like a Boss is like, you're not hated, you're just not thought about at all. That was really profound to me. And one of the things that is really important to me to get the message out to payroll professionals is bravery. And bravery covers a lot of things, but it's not just about finding your voice. It's about using your voice and figuring out a way to use your voice. You might have to get a little creative to get that seat at the table, but that is my favorite part of the book. And I know that my favorite quote in the book is, bravery is what turns your expertise into influence. And I think that to me is very important.
I think you both nailed it. Payroll's a really thankless job. I mean, we know that when you're in the seat, and what John alluded to earlier, no one pays attention to you until something's wrong with their check, and then it's like, whoa, you know. So I do agree with that, and so I'm always a huge advocate for people pushing the payroll narrative so people understand that, like, hey, look, this isn't just a click of a button. You're not just clocking in and out and then we're just sending that through. There's a whole review process, and it's heavy compliance. And Tammy, you hit on that from the very beginning. Like, there's just lots of compliance, lots of taxation we have to pay attention to. And so I love it. I'm so excited for the book to be out, you guys. I will make sure to have the link of the book here for you guys to order. I know you guys are super busy, but would love to just hear high-level advice for any payroll practitioner, leader that is looking to grow within this industry and truly treat this as an actual career, not a job, but this is actually a career. And all of my payroll peeps that are speaking out about it on podcasts, writing these books are just so amazing. Like, this is a true career that you can grow in and build a huge network in. And I'm glad to have, you two as an example, especially in my network as well, to show well with that. But I love to just get some advice from the experts here for anyone listening in.
I think networking is probably the most important thing. When I expanded my network outside of Ohio, I couldn't believe how open my eyes were. And I was listening to a lot of podcasts, and I'm hearing people talk about payroll and the changing role and how they're advocating for the profession. And I literally remember driving down the street talking to myself. People were probably noticing, going, oh my gosh, these people are in my head. Like, these are the thoughts that I have been having. I'm so glad to hear that other people have them too. And once you fan out that network, it is just amazing the things that can happen.
Yeah, to that point, what Tammy shared, I met a gentleman at a conference 15 years ago, and he was one of the speakers. His name's Steve Brown. He's prominent in the HR space. And fast forward the tape, 10-ish years later, I reached out to him to ask him for some advice as I was writing my book, and he gave me some great wisdom. He suggested that I write the how-to to do HR Like a Boss, which turned into the how-to of Payroll Like a Boss. And in the end of that conversation, he says, hey, do you mind if I introduce you to the editor at Sherm Books? I said, of course, Steve, like totally. What for? He goes, well, I think your book would be great for Sherm to publish. And sure enough, fast forward the tape, they ended up signing me, and that networking contact that I made, which was totally random out of the blue, literally almost ran into him in the conference, turned into changing my life and the influence that people can have. We got to kiss a lot of frogs, in my opinion, to find ones that you connect with. And that's okay. That's the way life is. But in the spirit of my advice or suggestion, Tiana and Tammy, is this. To Tammy's point, and having read the book multiple times and seeing her transformation and journey, I feel like there is something that makes a payroll professional a total badass, which is I am exceptional at my craft. I am so good at payroll. Like, we know people that do things that are maybe fancier in the framework of the world. Like, I'm an exceptional NBA basketball player, so I own my craft. I work at it hard, and it's glamorous. I make the 3-pointer, and everybody cheers. Well, no one cheers for us in payroll when we get 100% on processing and accurate payroll. No one does. The cheer is that you don't have to deal with their you-know-what because something got messed up. And I think that payroll professionals need to lean into their expertise and become a badass when it has to do with payroll. And then as a result of that reputation, you will likely be asked things like, hey, we're about to acquire a company, and I want you to look at the books for you to tell me, and they're on a payroll system I've never heard of before. What's it going to be like for us to transition them into our organization? Boom, you became a partner. Or, hey, we're having turnover in this particular department. Do you mind helping us analyze the data of time off and hours leakage or whatever the case is that's happening, for us to analyze the data points that are allowing us to make better business decisions? I think as a result of that, of just realizing that this is an incredible profession, that without it, there is no business. No company is going to exist if we're not paying them in an accurate and timely way. There it is, another drink. But that said, we really need to make sure that we own ourselves, like own our job, and we do it so incredibly well, and that we love it, and that people can feel it. And they're almost like, you're so weird. And you're like, yeah, I am a payroll nerd and I love it. And that's okay. I do my job incredibly well. And my guess is if you do that, because payroll professionals are not going to fan their flame, they're not going to fan themselves. They're not going to point the finger at them, but their work can showcase their worth. And in that sense, I think it's incredibly valuable for you to do your best job you can, and then opportunities will present themselves to you.
Ding, ding, ding. Nailed it. Nailed it. Payroll Like a Boss, everybody. Out now. National Payroll Week. Run to get it, please, if you haven't already ordered it.
And I do want to share it again. I know this show's launching right around the time that we have it. The book is for sale for only 99 cents. We want to make sure we get the book in everyone's hands. Now, that's the ebook. If you are okay with the ebook, you can get it for 99 cents, and that's going to run through the end of Payroll Congress. So it's not forever. You can buy the book through retail, and we are about to announce our date for the launch of our audiobook. That is Willery's gift to my firm, to Tammy, to hear her voice actress read off all of her chapters. It was one of the most amazing things that happened to me when I wrote HR Like a Boss. And I think it's something she well deserved. And we're making that investment. So we're going to launch that audiobook roughly in the middle part of May. But Tiana, I cannot thank you enough for the opportunity. I cannot thank you enough for your spirit. Keep doing what you're doing, lifting up this community. And we appreciate you going back to your roots when you were 20 years old doing payroll.
Yes,
And I
very
appreciate
true.
your enthusiasm.
Thank you. Yes, I know this is great. I love all my payroll people. It's just like we just, you know what? We are our own tribe, and no one really understands like what Tammy said. Once you start talking to other people, you realize we're all living in the same world. And I just appreciate anyone trying to push our narrative out there and understand what we're dealing with. So definitely a huge advocate of the book, everybody. John and Tammy are attached here to this post. So definitely reach out to them, send them a note if you have any questions, if you're struggling with anything. I mean, feel free to connect with all of us and make sure to grab the ebook for 99 cents. If you're kind of like me where you like to feel the book, and plus now I love John and Tammy, I'm going to purchase the actual book too. So here we go, guys. So I'll definitely be pushing this too on my page, and we will be back in another few weeks for another great episode. But thank you so much, Sean and Tammy, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Tiana.
Thank you so much. What a blessing. Appreciate you.